Guys, so I'm making a quick video. This video is not going to be about pulling any tarot cards. This video is about breaking generational curses. Okay, I want to give you an example, an understanding of what I have, a brief understanding of my belief. Okay, because as we begin our spiritual journey, right? A lot of us don't understand why this is happening to us. Why in our family is this happening to us at this time? A lot of us, like me, I'm 39 years old and I'm sitting here. My whole life was flipped upside down. Just for me to get on my spiritual journey. And it took me, even when I kept trying to resist this and trying to be like, question what was happening to me, there was a lot of fears there. And the fears were more about, what plagued my family for so long. And I wanted to make sure that stopped with me, okay? Because I knew that there was a bigger, deeper meaning than, what society had labeled our family. And what I say labeled, for generations, my family was labeled as, schizophrenic, bipolar, mental illness, um, speaking, saying that they're crazy, okay? And this has been going on for generation upon generation, okay? So eventually, as people get conformed with certain labels that society gives them, because people are fear the unknown, okay? They're afraid of it. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want to speak about something that's been plaguing my family for many, many years. And I spoke about this in my first video. It's about, schizophrenia. For many generations, years, as far as back as I could remember, and hearing about it, my family, there's always been somebody labeled schizophrenic or bipolar. But as a little girl, I always felt like there was a deeper meaning to this, because it was kind of contradicting, because I seen things differently when I was a little girl. I don't know how to even explain it. And some of these things I'm going to be talking to you about, it's going to sound a little crazy, because it's like I don't even know how to explain it myself. But I'm being called to make a video about this. The reason why I came into my spiritual journey, it had nothing to, I didn't even know nothing about like the financial abundance that comes with this. I didn't know about none of that. I always, as a little girl, said, I don't want my kids to have a certain lifestyle. I don't want my kids to experience the poverty that my family went through. I don't want my kids to feel like, being on the corner, on the street, you know, is the life, having to be involved in gangs or violence, or, the society's norm, having the best of everything and stuff like that. Forcing kids to do things at an early age that they don't have to do, like, selling drugs and shit like that. If not selling it, using it, because they don't have the means. They've been bullied and lacked the means to get, afford a certain lifestyle. So kids get bullied. You know, I always said I didn't want my kids to experience that. So there was a lot as a baby. I was a baby having a baby. Okay. Um, that I said I didn't want my kids to experience. Um, One of the things, I grew up with two parents that were alcoholics. I was the youngest at that time with, the baby girl. This was before my mom had, like, my other two little brothers. And there was a lot of things that I seen that was not fair. As a little girl, I felt it was unfair. Um, and I always said, this is not the way, when I have kids, when I have my own family, my family is not going to be like this. So let's fast forward. Okay. Um, I'm in college, working 2 or 3 jobs, full-time student, single parent. I've always tried to instill positivity in my children. I've always wanted my kids, because I was raising 3 girls and 1 boy, to see that no matter what it is, what society has up against you, what obstacles, challenges, there's different ways about doing things without having to lose your integrity. Okay. um and you know I always said I would never be I don't want my kids to see me drinking in the house, because that's how I grew up. I've seen that, I witnessed it. I didn't want my kids to see it, so there was no drinking in my house unless it was like family gatherings. um Another thing was, being the first one to graduate, high school, college in my family. um Nobody's done that before, you know and even with all the obstacles and burdens and things that I was faced with, I still managed to survive a lot of shit. um I never allowed the negative to taint me, if that makes sense. And not saying that I wasn't tempted in so many ways. Like, there, of course, we all make mistakes. That's how you grow. In order for you to learn and evolve, mistakes happen. But it's about you not continuing to make those same mistakes that help you to grow. If you keep making the same mistake, you have yet to evolve. You haven't grown. Okay. And a lot of people could say, yeah, I learned my lesson, but still do that lesson. You know what I mean? There's actually people that learn the lesson and apply it, and there's actually people that learn the lesson and continue to do this. Um, so I always, wanted my kids to see something different, because I was the girl that was bullied. I was the girl that had two alcoholic parents. I was the girl that went to bed without eating. I was the girl, that was raped. I was the girl that was, outcasted. Um, if it wasn't for a lot of the people, in the building, me getting a hot meal, it was a lot. It was a lot. Um, and I don't bring that up, to talk about, because I've already healed through a lot of this stuff. Um, and the reason why I'm bringing this up to the forefront is because when I started my spiritual journey, my initial reason for getting into this was to help break the generational curses that have been plaguing my family for years. As a little girl, as far as I could remember, I always said there's been a curse placed on the family. There's been a curse placed on my family, the females in my family, because we end up with men that are no good for us. We end up with men that are broken, that just use us. We end up in relationships that don't get us, that, how do I say, we end up with in a relationship with men we don't want to be with, or we end up settling for men that we don't want to be with, if that makes sense. Okay. So we end up settling for men that we don't want to be with because we feel like we can't find anything better, or we end up being in relationships that are broken, that don't last. Okay. Um, and as far as I can remember, I used to always say, something's wrong here. There's something wrong here for the whole my family, like the whole lineage, like my family. I could see, that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen. I'm like, something was placed on this family. And I don't know where I got that from, but I've always walked around saying that. There was something placed on this family. There was something placed on this family. And when I started my journey, it was more of breaking generational curses, finding truth in life, finding more meaning to me being here. Um, so that I'm able to, help my legacy, help my daughters, help my children. Um, so let's go back to schizophrenia. That's been plaguing my family for forever. Okay. Now, when I started my spiritual journey, I was really scared because things, paranormal things started happening that haven't happened to me in a long time. Um, I was a little girl. I remember seeing things. I remember, you know, seeing things, I don't know how to explain, like just always having paranormal activity around us, the home, and seeing things that I shouldn't have been seeing as a little girl. So I thought, but as I got older and had my own kids and started living in life, society, and life is, you're on the clock. You gotta go. You gotta go. Things are moving fast. There's no time to sit, relax, be still, and be silent, and actually be present in the moment, because life takes over you. Life starts controlling you because now you're on life's time. You know what I mean? And then you have, as I got older and almost passed away because of COVID. Hold on. As I almost passed away because of COVID. I My spiritual gifts were reawakened. Okay. Um, so um, as I came back from, I'm sorry guys, I had to pause that real quick. As I had COVID and almost passed away from COVID, um, my spiritual gifts have awakened. Okay, and it started. I've said this in a lot of my other videos. Um, you know, it started with the ringing in my ears, the flashings, the orbs, me seeing like full apparitions being formed in front of me. Um, Me seeing things that didn't look like this world, like human. There was a lot of things I started seeing. Me starting to feel the presence of spirits walking into the room, surrounding me. Um, there was a lot of things, but it wasn't as much scary. It was more of, as I started awakening and ascending to a higher conscience, I started finding that, different channels. So I was questioning a lot of things, right? And then I will go onto my YouTube and a recommendation will pop up, a suggestion will pop up, and consciously something would tell me, click on there. Why is this coming up? This is like a channel I would never look on, but I clicked on it. There would be a message in there for me of something I may have asked about prior. like the day before, and then boom, a YouTube channel will pop up with the message for me. Um, let's see what else. There was a lot of things like that happening. Um, me feeling the presence of spirit around, me feeling spirit, get into me and comforting me and talking to me. As I would meditate, I would go into a trance and wake up crying and comforted at the same time. Like I could feel and speak to spirit right there. Um, it was a lot of things, and I started questioning, like, why is this happening to me? And then I remembered, as a little girl, what I always thought. There was a curse, there's a curse placed on this family, and there's, you know, a lot that our family has been through, you know, isolating other family members because they called them schizophrenic. And I'm like, that's crazy how we sit here calling, and I'm guilty of it. I'm not innocent of it because I've done it. I was conditioned, okay? Um, and I'm guilty of it. My son has been labeled schizophrenic. I now know it's not that he's schizophrenic, but he's been on medication for so many years. He refuses to allow me to try to even help him. Um, so there's a lot, that's, you know, that has plagued our family. Okay. And when started awakening, I got scared a little bit because I was like, oh my God, this family's going to think I'm schizophrenic. This family's going to think I'm bipolar. This family's going to start calling me crazy. They're going to start looking at me the way that they looked at my aunt, my son. It scared me a little bit. And then I had to find faith and believe in that, no, bitch, you're not fucking schizophrenic. You're not schizophrenic. The power, the fear that was placed onto us, okay, of not wanting to talk about this and isolating ourselves from society and our family, that takes a toll on your mental as well. And I say this in my first video, I believe, or my second or third video of my spiritual journey. Um, you know, I felt bad because when my auntie, Titi Debbie, when she was growing up, we didn't have internet. We didn't have the World Wide Web. We didn't have social media, Facebook, all these different outlets, channels to find different communities that relate to certain things we're going through in our life. My aunt didn't have that. She was literally isolated. Okay. So when my family started turning on her, she had no outlet to go to. That even made her more mad. Just imagine being isolated not only from your family, society, and you have no outlet, because if you start speaking about that, people call you crazy. People back then, they used to be placed in asylums, drugged up. People, would label them as bipolar. And not saying that there aren't people like that. But before you start labeling somebody that says, I speak to spirit, I'm hearing voices, you want to be able to, there's got to be a change here. And because of that, people are afraid to speak up. People are afraid of the unknown. Okay. And that was something that almost caught me. That fear almost grabbed hold of me because I was almost not even going to continue on my purpose. But you know what? I said, no way. There's a reason why this is happening to me. There's a reason why, I've had that near-death experience. There's a reason why I'm awakening at this time. There's a reason why all of this is happening. I have to believe that. And I do. I do. Um, I say that to say this: breaking generational curses. Not only do we break them for our kids and stop at us so that our kids can have a fruitful life, okay? We're breaking those chains and breaking our ancestors from bondage too in the spirit realm. A lot of people want to think, people get scared, like, what is in it for me? People come into their spiritual journey, and they start getting tarot readings and start seeing like, oh, abundance, financial abundance. People do things. Some people do things with the intent of expecting something in return. That's selfish. You don't want to come into expecting. And I don't know why I'm bringing this up, because I don't know why this has to do with breaking generational curses, but I'm gonna keep speaking about this. When you come into finding your own spirituality, your own spiritual journey, your own you're breaking, not everyone in your family is gonna be chosen, first off. Not everyone in your family. There's gonna be one chosen person, maybe two, okay? Um, from what I understand, okay? Um, that are chosen to come at this lifetime or whatever lifetime, the next lifetime, to break those curses. Because we have karmic debts that are not only from what we create and gather up while we're here living, we have our past ancestors that have those debts too. And so at some point, somebody has to come and help break those karmic debts, um, break those generational curses, so that the family lineage can be, purified. Purified. That's the best way I could explain it. You want to help your ancestors break those bondage, those chains that are chaining them down in that spirit realm too. You want to help uplift your own children. Give them a reason to, not be scared to communicate and talk to you when they're coming. There's a lot of kids that are afraid to tell their parents about this because of what society thinks. Because society labels people like us schizophrenic, crazy, delusional, nutty. No, we're not. We're gifted. We're gifted. We have the ability to communicate, with our departed ones. We have the ability to get messages directly from source, from spirit. We have the ability to, walk into a room and feel when somebody's in hurt, pain. We have the ability to walk into a room and heal other people, just being our presence. We have the ability to know when, something is going to happen, predicting things, dreaming things, prophesizing. We're not, a lot of people look at us, people take this and they look at everything right here with the flesh, with the two eyes, right? Not realizing that, first off, we are spiritual beings having a human experience here on earth. We have been here many lifetimes, just in different bodies, different forms, experiencing life different ways. Okay. And you come back to continue breaking those patterns, those curses. Okay. It's not about the flesh. It's about a person's soul. It's about the 5D. It's about ascending to a higher conscience, remembering who you are, who your family is, breaking remembering why you're here. Why were you placed here on earth at this time in this vessel? What is it that you need to do? And that's where your life purpose, your mission starts. You need to find people. When you start ascending to a higher conscience, eventually you're getting out of your south node and you walk into your north node. You want to look that up on Google. You remove you start walking out from your south node and go into your north node. Okay. Um, and that's when you start walking into your life purpose. There's a lot of work that comes with this. You don't just wake up one day and say, I'm gonna, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of shadow work that has to be done. You can't just say, okay, I'm stepping into this, and then you're not doing the work, the healing, the shadow work. There's work that has to be done, because we've operated on one side of our either masculine or feminine side for so long. We don't know how to have balance, duality with the masculine and feminine within self. So a lot of us operate the majority of our lives in either the masculine side, or the majority of our lives either in the feminine side. We have never been able to balance duality, both within self, your yin and your yang. And the way you do that is by healing. Healing, doing shadow work, finding a deeper meaning. Meditation helps a lot with connecting with your spirit guides, and just finding out what your next steps would be. I feel like I mumbled a lot into this video when I really wanted to speak about breaking the generational curses. But, I say that to say this. As soon as, I started breaking the curses in my side, standing up for myself, not being conditioned to what society or my family thinks of me. As soon as I started breaking those things, I had a deep knowing that I broke curses in my family. And I remember contacting my sister one time, and I was telling her, I'm like, Lisi, I think I broke a family curse that was placed on us females of, having poverty, lack. And she's like, I started telling her why. And she was like, Betty, I think you're right. I think you're right, because this is what started happening for me. Look at what just happened for me. Look at what just happened for my other sister. And these are things that, our family, we lived in poverty for so long. Okay. With me, my aunt was labeled schizophrenic. My son was labeled schizophrenic. I made sure that shit stopped with me. I'm not schizophrenic, but I definitely speak to spirit. But that doesn't make me crazy. That just makes me gifted, talented, chosen. My ancestors decided to choose me to help with breaking those curses. That was a mission I signed up to do on earth this lifetime. To help other people. And by me helping others, I help myself. I ascend higher as well. I had to learn how to use my discernment. I had to remember who I was, what my mission was here to do on earth. And this is why I was awakened at this time and this point of my life. Because I forgot. I almost lost my way. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk to you about that. So, when I find out that, my ancestors talk to me and they're like telling me, you broke another curse, you broke this generational curse, it makes me feel good knowing I'm helping out, not only here on earth physically with my kids, I'm helping my ancestors. I'm helping free them from that bondage. Okay, so you want to do things from a kind, loving heart. It's not always about what you're going to get out of it, guys. You should want to be able to help this is our family lineage we're talking about. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Love and light.